The following are 10 top secrets behind Raila Odinga's quest for presidency. One, Raila wants to leave a legacy. Raila Odinga is not just interested in seizing the presidency. He is seeking to leave behind a legacy for the people of Kenya. Already, Raila's achievement in Kenya's democratic struggle is solid. In seeking the presidency, he wants to ensure that he leaves a legacy that will last forever. This legacy will never be known before Raila arrives at State House. 2. Raila wants to rescue devolution, his key political idea. Any Kenyan who knows the history of the country knows that Raila Odinga is the godfather of devolution. The son of Jaramogi introduced devolution in Kenya, carved out of the German model. The late Dr. Crispin Odhiambo Mbai, who was murdered in cold blood by members of the Mount Kenya Mafia cartel and who masterminded devolution details during the writing of the new constitution, was a very close ally of Raila Odinga. Since the introduction of devolution politics in Kenya, Raila has had to watch with trepidation as both the Kibaki and Uhuru dictatorships raped the new constitution and underfunded counties as the cartels looted public resources. Raila's agenda in seeking the presidency is to restore devolution politics, avail funds to the counties, and ensure that devolution works as envisioned by the writers of the new constitution. 3. Raila wants to fulfill his father's ambition of becoming president. Jaramogi Oginga Odinga, Raila's father and Kenya's first vice president, is one of the greatest freedom fighters Kenya has ever produced. Jaramogi is personally responsible for handing over Kenya's presidency to Uhuru's father, Jomo Kenyatta. It is Jaramogi who insisted that Uhuru's father be released from prison for Kenya to become independent. If Kenyan leaders followed through democratic traditions upon which the country was founded, Jaramogi ought to have become president of Kenya before he died. However, Uhuru's father presided over a regime which not only arrested Jaramogi and cast him in detention, but also persecuted him, put him under house arrest, banned political parties, assassinated opponents, and frustrated Jaramogi's politically until the old man passed on in 1994. In seeking to become president, Raila is seeking to fulfill his father's ambition, not just to become president, but also to use the presidency to change Kenya for the better, following more than half a century of misrule, plunder, death, and human suffering of millions of Kenyans who go without food on a daily basis. 4. Raila wants to become first Luo president. Historically, the Luo perceive themselves as a community whose sons in politics have not only been persecuted but also frustrated and killed by subsequent regimes since independence. Apart from fulfilling a family's dream of becoming Kenya's first president, Raila's presidency will enable the political conscience of the Luo people to rest in peace and bring hope to other communities following the dominance of the presidency by two ethnic groups, the Kikuyu and the Kalenjin, whose sons have occupied State House for more than half a century with devastating consequences. If a Luo cannot become president because of frustrations by Kikuyu Mafia cartel that controls State House, no other ethnic group will be able to defeat this cartel to rise to the presidency. 5. Raila wants to defeat Mount Kenya Mafia agenda of ruling Kenya forever. Generally speaking, ordinary members of the poor and suffering Kikuyu community has had nothing to do with the way Kenya has been governed. This is because, just like millions of Kenyans from other communities, the Kikuyu community suffer the perils of bad leadership, corruption and human rights violations. The main political bandits in Kenya are the cartels from the Mount Kenya Mafia, known to have been active during Jomo Kenyatta's rule, Kibaki's dictatorship, Uhuru Smith's rule, together with the Kabarak syndicate that controlled Moi's government. These are the corrupt cliques that steal elections, loot the economy, assassinate opponents, and wield state power with impunity. In seeking Kenya's presidency, Raila is generally seeking to defeat the agenda of the mafia by relieving them of state power. Apart from the son of Jaramogi, there is no politician in Kenya today with the knowledge, the strategy, political resources, mobilization capacity, tactics, international connections, financial resources, experience, and political tricks that can help free Kenya from the dirty politics of Mount Kenya Mafia. The massive support Raila enjoys in Kenya today is based on the understanding that if he fails to dismantle the mafia, Kenya will be ruled by the mafia for the next 100 years. The August election provides the final and only real opportunity of breaking the power of the mafia in the Republic of Kenya. This is why Raila is referred to as the last bullet. 6. Raila wants to implement his democratic ideas for Kenya. Since his days in detention, Raila has had his own unique dream for a better Kenya. This is not strange because no individual seeks the presidency without an agenda for change. If former President Mwai Kibaki didn't rig elections in 2007, Raila Odinga could have probably been serving his last term in office today. Kenyans could have known what is made of Raila, and the country could have been moving forward with a new dispensation of leaders. Raila is a billionaire who has nothing in common with the common mwananchi. He is seeking the presidency to deliver leadership which he believes will change Kenya. Just like any Kenyan, he has a right to seek office, and part of his ambition in doing so is to deliver a unique kind of leadership which he believes Kenya needs. Let Kenyans give him a chance. 7. Raila wants to demonstrate that corruption can be brought to an end. If there is any scourge that has haunted Kenya since presidents started coming and going, it is the scourge of corruption in high office. For the last 5 years, Raila has spent the better part of his political activities in exposing corruption within the Jubilee government. In fact, millions of Kenyans will agree that without Raila Amolo Odinga, what constitutes corruption scandals perpetrated by the Jubilee government since it came to power could not have been known or could not have come to surface if Raila Odinga had gone into retirement in 2013. Raila has been in government, not just as a minister, but as a prime minister. He knows and understands how government works. He knows sources of corruption in government and how corruption cartels operate. While he has a very good infrastructure of discovering and exposing corruption, Raila has had no machinery to intervene because he has no power. When he was prime minister, he was under Mwai Kibaki. Raila is seeking Kenya's presidency so that he can show the nation how to preside over a corruption-free government. He needs to take over so that Kenyans can decide whether Raila is the best president Kenya has never had. 8. Raila wants to end the culture of tribalism. A key plank of Raila Odinga's campaign promise has been a firm commitment to end tribalism in government. Tribalism is a complex issue. However, every Kenyan knows how tribalism manifests itself in government. In the Jubilee government, all key government institutions are currently occupied by members of the Kikuyu ethnic group. From the Central Bank of Kenya, CID, NIS, military, to Office of President and parastatal organizations, the Kikuyus are everywhere. The situation is so serious that in some offices like the Kenya Revenue Authority and Office of President, Kikuyu language is the official language. Even the Kalenjin, who assisted the Kikuyu by voting for Uhuru Kenyatta almost to a man, have been left out. Raila has studied the situation and is seeking to end rampant tribalism that has beleaguered every government from Jomo Kenyatta to Uhuru Kenyatta. This noble intention explains why Raila keeps repeating that his government will be an all-inclusive government. Raila needs to take over power so that Kenyans can decide whether he is the solution the country has been waiting for. 9. Raila wants to correct historical injustices. After elections were rigged in 2007 and the TJRC report produced, the move was seen as a positive development which came out of a deep crisis. The implementation of this report was blocked by Uhuru Kenyatta soon after he was handed over the report. For Raila Odinga, historical injustices form the very basis of political, economic, and land problems facing Kenya. More so, human rights violations and political assassinations of the past remain unaddressed even though the facts and figures are already available. Failure to address historical injustices is responsible for lack of forgiveness and reconciliation in Kenya and the heightening of tension during each and every election. For Raila, becoming president of the republic is the first step towards resolving the historical injustices which Raila believes forms part of the solution to the problems facing Kenya. Under the circumstances, Raila should become president. 10. Raila Odinga wants to show what is possible with his presidency. The purpose of every voter taking time to vote at a polling station is to help the country move forward. After 4 presidents spanning over half a century from 2 ethnic groups, also known as 2 against 41, Kenyans are yearning for change. Raila is not just another opposition leader seeking the presidency. He is the only key survivor of the Moi-era political persecutions still standing for the same ideals. Raila holds the record as the longest-serving detainee during the post-Kenyatta era. He has been very consistent in his struggles for a better Kenya, while his achievements in struggle remain undisputed since he was released from detention about 17 years ago. Raila won the 2007 election, but his victory was stolen by Kibaki. The son of Odinga was in the verge of winning the 2013 election, but he was rigged out by the mafia cartel. He never gave up. Finally, he has galvanized all opposition leaders and united them into one formidable force. More than 10 million Kenyans are with him. Today, Raila Odinga has a real opportunity of becoming Kenya's next president. What Raila is seeking is to show 45 million Kenyans the kind of leadership that he has paid the ultimate and heaviest price in molding. Kenyans, give Raila Odinga a chance. Elect Raila Amolo Odinga as 5th President of the Republic of Kenya. This is our message to you. Thank you.